What's up, everyone? It's Russo. I hope everyone is doing well. Please subscribe here and please follow me on Instagram at RussoLifts in case something happens to this channel. You can follow, message me, interact with me directly, and there's daily content on there. Hope to see you guys on Instagram. What's up, everyone? It's Russo. I hope everyone is doing well. Today I'm going to be going over my experience, side effects, and generally overall what I think of methylprednisolone, otherwise known as Superdrol, otherwise known as basically oral Masteron. So, again, I'm not anti-gear, I'm not anti-Sarm, I'm not anti-Prohormone. I look at them all as synthetic androgens, and obviously there's hype behind some of them for certain reasons. And, you know, I just look at them completely unbiased. So, people are always asking me on Instagram what I think of Prohormones, and I don't have that much experience with them. Not that many pique my interest. Obviously, Superdrol, methyldrosterone, being the poster boy of Prohormones, one of the best Prohormones ever to drop, piqued my interest. So for those who don't know, there was the anabolic steroid act. So before that, you know, back in Arnold's day, you just had the freedom of choice to basically go to a doctor, say, I want testosterone, I want DECA, I want Anavar. They'd write you a script. You'd fill out your script, go about your day with your decision to be enhanced and your accepted risk to be enhanced. With the whole baseball ordeal thing, all that bullshit, they pushed through the ban of anabolics and scheduled them. So they became Schedule 3. There was a certain list of these Schedule 3 substances, and there was the popular steroids. So in the 2000s, there's a lot of compounds left off that list. A lot of stuff is developed and just abandoned for whatever reason. Pharma doesn't see a point to continue the research and development, even if it's going completely well. They could find a drug that makes them more money, or a drug with slightly less side effects, and then they just move on to that and divert their money into that. So there were a lot of compounds on the list, just like Sarms, that, you know, they weren't on the ban list. So moving forward, in the 2000s, Prohormones hit the market. Superdrol is one of the kings of this era. Superdrol was available over the counter at any GNC. This was back when GNC, you could get some real shit from GNC, you know. But yeah, it was available over the counter. Again, I don't think people knew the science behind it. And it was by far the most popular Prohormone, in my opinion, based on my research. Obviously DMZ being one of those up there as well. I still think Superdrol is the GOAT of Prohormones, in my opinion. So with that history, with that backing, you know, Russo's lab rat was smelling the cheese and wanted to take a bite. Oh, I'm getting real weird with these fucking Anyways, I'm a bit high right now. So I was very interested in giving this one a shot. So my friend had some oral Superdrol, and I gave 2 different dosing setups a shot. Now it is, in my opinion, a pre-workout type ordeal. I would always never do this solo. I would definitely always have a baseline of test under you, and then utilize the Superdrol pre-workout for the pre-workout aggression, the insane pumps, all that stuff. The issue with oral is the C17 alkylate methylation. So a C17 alkylate methylation is what the chemists were using to get the SARM to go through the liver. So your liver sees this, or not the SARM, this fucking Superdrol. SARMs are not C17 alkylate methylated. They don't have a methylation. Prohormones, Superdrol specifically, you can see on the chemical chart, C17 alkylate methylation. So what that does is the chemists attach that to get it to pass through the liver orally. You know, your liver sees this prohormone as a foreign object and wants to destroy it. C17 alkylate methylation helps it get through the liver and keeps the prohormone intact, so when it hits the bloodstream, it's active, it's working. That being said, that's like driving a knife through your liver every time you dose it, and can lead to hepatotoxicity. And this hepatotoxicity, without education on how to detoxify your liver, without education on how toxicity builds up and what that toxicity could lead to, such as permanent liver damage, fatty liver, or jaundice, again with the abuse. This is why Prohormones got banned, is because idiots do not understand hepatotoxicity, and we're just running Superdrol indefinitely, like months, and then they're wondering why their liver is failing. It just blows my mind. That's why I never really recommend C17 alkylate methylations unless you know what a C17, you like know the toxicity associated with some of them. Everyone's different on the reaction, but there's much less toxic options on the market. That's why I've always stayed away from most Prohormones, because of the toxicity. But anyways, so there's that. So I've given it 3 times, 4 times, I think 4 times a shot pre-workout oral experience. So I'm also going to give a transdermal experience, and if you want more information on the transdermal in general, just shoot me a DM on Instagram at Russo Lifts. So oral, kicked in immediately, insane aggression right off the bat, comparable to, it's a spike in aggression. I'm going to compare it to S23, I'm going to compare it to Tren. Obviously that all reacts differently with everyone's brain chemistry. I can say that personally, increase in aggression right off the bat. Immediate spike in blood pressure to a point where I can feel it in the back of my head. So this is why I don't really go with high BP side effect gear. So I didn't have my Apple Watch at that time. With the transdermal, I was watching my blood pressure jump. But orally, it just feels like a pressure in the back of your head. That's your blood pressure raising. That can be dangerous if you are powerlifting, because you're going to build even more pressure in your head if you're doing a big deadlift or squat or bench. All that is going to, you're already elevated, so you're going to elevate it even more. So keep that in mind if you're powerlifting. May not be the best thing for powerlifting. Again, if you're concerned about that, I would be concerned about that personally. So blood pressure increase. The pumps, absolutely insane. Like the pumps are so crazy on it. It's comparable, I guess, in the Sarm world to YK11, like blasting the fuck out of it. But I think it's worse because it's more powerful. So the pumps get so bad that you can't really lock out weights. Like, let's say flat bench. Like natural, I can rep flat bench indefinitely, and it would take me forever to fatigue, pump out, and fail. With Superdrol at a high dosage, if I was really contracting with a high dosage of Superdrol, I could fail. My massive ass body could fail because there's so much blood in there on like rep like 16 of 135. So it becomes a hindrance almost on training. Now it depends how you're training, and if you're training for blood flow, training strictly like an enhanced bodybuilder, you're not gonna be like, you're gonna be trying to get pumped, get as much blood and drugs in the muscle, as much nutrients in the muscle, and you're gonna know that you're not pushing for compound strength, or if you are, you get it over with and then you utilize hypertrophy because it's bodybuilding is hypertrophy. So keep that in mind. Pumps absolutely nutso. And yeah, overall that's what I thought. I think it's a insane pre-workout androgen. It's very powerful. Again, oral masteron. No estrogenic activity, so it does not really cause bloat, gain estrogen, or increase estrogen, not gain estrogen, increase estrogen. So it's very it could be utilized in a cutting cycle, again, to enhance pump, enhance fullness, without really bloating you whatsoever. So that was my oral experience. Now transdermal experience, and this is why the whole reason I decided to give it a shot again, because the oral experiences I had about 2 years ago when I gave it a whirl. Transdermal, I saw transdermal on the market and I wanted to give that a shot. So transdermal means that you're missing that first pass through the liver. So that C17 alkylate methylation that gets it originally through the liver, you're bypassing that. So the hepatotoxicity is way lower with the transdermal, which made me want to throw it in this bulk cycle and give it a shot again. And I can say that you might have to use definitely a little bit more of the Transdermal, but the effects are exactly the same. Like, I had a day where I got so pumped up I couldn't lock out anything, and it was just like brutal pump all over, and it just reminded me completely of the Superdrol pump I had 2 years ago. So I could say Transdermal, it's extremely effective, and if you want to play around with Superdrol and you want to avoid that liver toxicity, or at least the initial first round of going through the liver of the 17-alkylate methylation, then I think Transdermal is a great bet. Overall, what do I think about Superdrol? I think it has its place as an icon. I mean, it is oral Masteron, so injecting Masteron, although the Superdrol is going to be more powerful, just like how D-Ball is a more powerful version of an injectable as well. It's oral Masteron essentially, so remember the DHT side effects such as prostate, hair loss, but I didn't really notice anything much as far as an insane amount of shedding. Might have had more shedding than normal, and yeah, I didn't notice any estrogenic activity. Obviously it's super suppressive and it's going to skew cholesterol like any synthetic androgen, but you know, it's more for an advanced user. It's more for an advanced user who's utilizing test already and wants something for the aggression pre-workout, wants something for the insane fullness pre-workout, the nutrient partitioning pump effect pre-workout. I think Superdrol is a good bet. I would go with Transdermal personally if you're planning on utilizing it for a long period of time, which I think most people would want to utilize it more than 2 weeks, because with the oral, 2 weeks max for me personally. And with the amount of stuff I experiment around with and play around with, like, I only did it for like 2-3 days. Like, I'm not about the 17-alkylate methylation. So, you know, give Transdermal a shot. That's what I think. Again, blood pressure in the back of the head. I was tracking on my Apple Watch with the Transdermal, and it would jump up 20 points. And then it would also go back down later in the day as it was half-lifing out. So, yeah, that's overall my opinion on Superdrol. It is one of the GOATs of the pro-hormone world. I do want to give my opinion on DMZ as well. I just have not had that much experience with it. I think I've tried it like once, but that's one I want to build up in my system more. But yeah, that's Superdrol. Comment your experiences with Superdrol down below. I will see you guys in my next video.